I was realizing he's not learning any of this. None of it means anything to him. He just wants to get through so he can go outside and play.
I want to talk about Charlotte Mason. And you mentioned, I don't remember if it was in part 1 or 2, but you mentioned that you are a Charlotte Mason-y type of homeschool mom. And I wish that when I had started homeschooling 12 years ago, that I knew who Charlotte Mason was, that I was more familiar with her style of teaching. Because when I first started, of course, I started like so many other moms, where I sat my 4-year-old at the time down at the table and I said, okay, here's your worksheets, go. And she's like, okay. And she hated it. She still till this day hates worksheets because to her, it was just nonsense, busy work. My younger daughter loves them. She thinks they're fun. But my older daughter did not like that. She just wanted to go dig in the dirt and play and take walks and find leaves. As a matter of fact, a few days ago, we had our friend's little boys were here at our house. And so she said, Mom, walks are so much more fun with these boys when I take them and I give them things to find. And I tell them, go see how many red leaves you can find and go see how many yellow leaves you can find. And let's see how many bugs we can find. And I was like, she's doing the Charlotte Mason method all on her own. It doesn't even know it. So talk about your homeschool journey and why you've chosen the method that you've chosen and how that's worked for your family.
I would say at the beginning, we began just like you did. I had several workbooks and I sat the kids down at the table and handed them their workbook per subject. And I noticed with my oldest specifically, he could fill in the blanks really well. But when it came to me reading aloud, which I was told would be a good thing to do for homeschool, and I would ask a question or I'd ask him to tell it back, which I was also told, hey, just have them narrate, have them tell back what you read. He couldn't do that. And I thought it was fascinating how quickly he could fill out a blank, but he couldn't process the information that I was reading aloud to him. And so almost immediately, I just realized he knows the system. He figured out the system. I mean, remember, both of my older boys had been in school for 1 to 2 years.
Right.
So he already knew what was expected of him. Find the bold word and then fill in the blank with the bold word.
Sure.
It was this realization that he was not processing this information. He didn't even probably understand it. He just knew how to fill in the blank.
Right.
That was within about the first week after I had spent all of this money on, I believe it was even a classical curriculum. It was a really nice curriculum, but it was still fill in the blank. And I was realizing he's not learning any of this. None of it means anything to him. He just wants to get through so he can go outside and play. And so I remember just praying, like, Lord, I really want to do what's best for my family. I want us to thrive. I mean, what am I supposed to do? And I just remember feeling this prompt to look for the places that they find joy.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they enjoyed the most is when I would read to them. They would just come up to me and cuddle. And even my toddler twins would be still and listen, and they were engaged. And it was just a really beautiful time. And so I thought, how can I make school from just reading? And so that's really what started my quest to understand Charlotte Mason. And as I remember Googling, can you teach homeschool through books? It was like, I didn't even know of Charlotte Mason, to be honest. All I knew is that what brought joy into our home was reading aloud. And so I needed some sort of resource. And then I discovered Beautiful Feet books. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're literature based. And we started with their early American history study, and it taught me how to teach through living books. Yeah. And so that was kind of my first exposure to Charlotte Mason. They also encouraged to notebook through, the study. And my oldest son was super academic and can handle, copy work and all the writing mechanics and everything that came very naturally to him. But my second son hated writing. It was painful for him. It caused tears. And, they were so different in the way that they handled the actual written portion.
Yeah.
But my second son loved drawing, and he would draw for hours. And it was so perplexing to me because his hand would get so tired writing a sentence, but he could draw out this beautiful, accurate owl, And I just thought that's so strange. But if I could somehow marry the two, then maybe that will encourage him to write. And so we started our kind of own notebooking journey by creating a very specific system for notebooking, which I sell a manual in our shop because it has been so publicized in the
Yeah.
homeschooling community, because we really have it down to an art, no pun intended.
Sure.
But so every day within probably the first, I would say 6 months of our homeschooling journey, we figured out a beautiful rhythm with using living books and notebooking.
Yeah.
And so from that time forward, that has been what we have done. And it was very experimental. I really trusted the system. I've never taught formal grammar to my children, but they can write beautifully.
Yeah.
And that's because they've been exposed to good literature
Yep.
and prose and grammar and spelling all through the books that they've had in their hands or that I've had on my lap, and through their writing. So it's been a very organic process of them learning how to write and learn. And it's all been through living books. So we haven't touched any textbooks or workbooks since then. And it's just been a really beautiful process to see that now my oldest is in college classes.
Wow.
And without having any formal grammar, he's getting A's in those classes. So it's kind of a testament that it does work.
Yeah.
It's fruitful, to not, live in fear, but just write it out and you'll see the fruit from it.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.